when we did finally get into the studio and get to record the second album, we were so deprived of live music and being able to play together that we just completely embraced so many aspects of live. But in the studio, there are multiple songs on the album where the bass and drums together are a live take, or
like we've always been. Sorry, Stephen, did I go?
No, you go ahead.
I'm waiting for you, just like you're waiting for me. I'm willing to learn, I'm just waiting to see. You go from crying your heart out to skimming the stone.
What took you so long? It's been almost 5 years, release-wise, time-wise. Is COVID the only reason?
It's definitely a big part of it, I think.
I think if it wasn't for COVID, maybe realistically we would have had the second album out in maybe late 2020.
The first EP, Actum Age, might have became an album, but because of COVID, we just decided we weren't able to do any justice. We respect the idea of an album and the body of work and, the patience it takes to do that we didn't want to do it kind of virtually over email with a producer. So we were happy to kind of park it there and say, no, EP, and then it just went on so long.
The idea of recording an album and not knowing whether we could tour it or not was just really grim.
Oh, I get the feeling I can't help you right now. Oh, I get the feeling and I can't give you my very best. Oh, I get the feeling I can't help.
Sometimes you get better when time rolls over something. So what's the matter of losing or winning?
I feel like we kind of stayed steady. I don't know whether we came out winning or losing, but maybe more so winning. I think, I don't know about you, Craig, but maybe I think this is a better album than it would have been.
Yeah, I think so. It gave us time to kind of, we'll take a break from music first of all, because we hadn't done that. It nearly felt like we kind of got to hit reset on the band and kind of take it easy and approach music from home, and then, not being around each other for so long, that it made us kind of desperately want to be back making music together in a room and then getting on the road. So when the world opened up again, we felt quite crystal clear in what we wanted to do, which was be in the same room together and write songs the old-fashioned way. And so yeah, I'd agree. I think we definitely, although COVID was an absolute fucking hell, it was personally for the four of us, it did help us kind of just reconvene and figure out what we want to do.
And I can't give you my very best, my very best.
What does it mean for you being on Capitol Records?
It's an incredible legacy they have, and that was a huge pull, I think, at the time. It's like you pick up Pet Sounds, the greatest album ever made. There's their logo right on the front. Putting our names on the dotted line with Capitol Records, everyone probably thinks it was a really easy decision I made to jump at it, but we'd been through the whole meeting with record labels on the first album and not knowing how we wanted to do it, and I think we got really used to being an independent band and enjoying it.
And not getting carried away with the hey ma'am, look, I signed to Capitol Records. It's more so about the belief in the band.
Don't take it personally.
It wasn't an easy decision by any means, but it's been kind of eye-opening experience so far, and I think we're better off for it.
Don't take it personally. Don't take it personally.
Even the days when we worked out the deal we done, it was all personal, and we wanted to make sure that they understood the hard work we had put in, and they did, and it was just kind of a lot of reciprocation on both ends. So yeah, overall a pleasant experience.
Looks like you're on your own again. How could it be? You turned a lover to a friend.
So talking about inspiration, I read things like Kings, Velvet Underground, Beach Boys, very influential. Where do we hear that best?
Yeah, I guess that was kind of, you do have those conversations at the beginning of a process of, what do you want it to sound like and what you've been listening to. And those were the bands kind of at the time. We were living in North London making the album, and we spent a lot of time in Muswell Hill where the Kinks are from. So that was kind of like the landscape and soundtrack of our time there making the album. And there's definitely a lot more storytelling on this album in songs like Homesick, which I feel is a bit more kind of in the Kinks land of, you know, maybe Waterloo Sunset or Strangers, the more tender side of the Kinks. Maybe not so much the rock and roll thing. The song that kind of kickstarted it all was a song called Pushing Up Daisies, and we had a demo that was, it's got the attitude of Velvet Underground in the vocal and minimalistic drums, big like reverbs, and we that was, even though it was just a little demo, that was the kind of kickstart where we were thinking, okay, yeah, we don't want to do this really big hi-fi album, we want to do like an album that sounds like the studio is an instrument, and that's kind of where we kick-started from. And then as you start making the album, other things start bleeding in, slightly more modern influences, maybe like MGMT and LCD sound system, because you kind of find yourself in a weird world if you just stay retro. It kind of become a little bit novelty, and you have to kind of find that academic spirit in the middle of it all. So but yeah, they were the kind of initial, and like Talking Heads was a big one, and Squeeze was in there a little bit, but definitely focusing in on that kind of storytelling.
Wake up not feeling too pretty. I need to pack it in. I'm decorated with pity. I'll take it on the chin. I've learned to live seeking.
It's nice that you mentioned Squeeze, because they are highly influential but hardly ever mentioned.
It's strange, like such great songs and short, catchy pop songs, you know, that like would still be so fresh today. And that was one of the beauties of lockdown. We got to experiment and listen to music we maybe missed along the way. So and it's still happening. Like I'm getting into a band called the Blue Nile that I kind of just never really delved into, and a band called like XCC, getting the back catalogues in now, and it's stuff like that that kind of kicks you off. So me and Stephen are long overdue a few pints and talk about music and see where we go next.
I need to be adored. I'm sorry I do not follow.
Big compliments for the new album. One more thing, why is it called Sitting Pretty? Is it an expression, or is it as Sitting Pretty?
I don't know. I think the meaning keeps changing. I took it from a P.G. Wodehouse short story called Sitting Pretty, but it's nothing to do with that. I just thought the title kind of applied to how crazy your 20s can be, and how everybody thinks everybody else is doing fine, and how you're supposed to be sitting pretty and everything's meant to be all fun and relaxing, and maybe it's there's a lot of like worries and neurotic overthinking and stuff like that. It's kind of a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but then there's a little bit of me that feels like our band is in good shape at the minute. We actually are sitting pretty.
I wake up feeling so pretty. Let nothing take its toll. I look like one in a million.
I'm talking to two of the four members now. How's Matthew doing, Stephen?
He's great. He's here. I'm actually in my home place at the minute. This is my childhood bedroom. Matthew's childhood, because we're brothers. His bedroom is just a couple of rooms up that way. So he's well. Again, he's just we're like, we have suitcases open but empty, and we're starting to think about packing stage outfits and all that stuff. So that's where we're at the minute.
Dean, okay?
Dean's great, yeah. He's drumming better than ever. We were in a full day of rehearsals yesterday, getting the new album up to scratch with the older tracks. So we feel like kids in a playground again, just trying to figure it all out and seeing how the songs adapt. But spirits are strong in the world of the academic.